Hey team, hey team, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm Coach Willena McGee, and today I am presenting a little bit of a story time. I'm just going to be talking. So if you have questions while I'm on, go ahead and feel free. But today I am here because number one, I'm grateful. Um, Many of you all may not know, but me and my husband were facing some challenges legally, and it was a whole ordeal, but it was settled so quickly. And of course, I'm just praying that all individuals involved will come to a healing and a restoration. I'm here today because I was supposed to go to church. My husband wanted me to go to church with him, but I acknowledge Sabbath. So we had our Sabbath yesterday, and I had all these business plans in my microphone. Excuse me for that. I had all these business plans to complete. I was able to get two done yesterday, but I had so many that I needed to complete today. So I said, well, you go ahead and go, and I'll stay here and complete that. Then I went to go log into um, my planning software, and it was like, we just sent you a verification code. And I've had this software for over a year, and over a year, it's never asked me for a verification code. Anyway, so I was unable to do the business plans. So I was a little frustrated. So I said, okay, well, I had rescheduled an appointment for today, and I've got a live that I've scheduled for later on today. And I was like, well, what can I do? So I just went over to TikTok, and, I kind of just started rambling on over there. So I kind of got my thoughts together now. And I said, well, let me go ahead over to YouTube. And if you all join, great. If you don't, it's 12 o'clock on almost 1 o'clock on a Sunday. I get it. But for today, I just wanted to talk to you about some of my challenges as a coach. I didn't really want to come as the NEMT startup coach. I wanted to come as the NEMT startup coach and just give you all some insight on the challenges that I face. Because like I said, a lot of times you see me on Facebook, Instagram, or you see me on live, but you don't get an opportunity to see me working with 6 to 8 clients per day, each one of them special, unique, and with their own different challenges. And taking sales calls and the processes that are behind that. And it's been a challenging year and a half. It's been a very rewarding year and a half, but it has definitely come with its fair share of challenges. And I will say the result has been beautiful. I appreciate all of you all who follow me, who subscribe to this channel, who have been supportive, who are working in that membership only section, that have supported me. And those of you all who have attended workshops and in support, and those of you all who have been my students, it's just been an ongoing process of encouragement. And believe me, there have been many times as a coach that I have said to myself, you know what, I'm just going to finish the clients that I have, and I just want to quit. I felt like at times there were so many things that were against me. I felt defeated at times. I felt that, things weren't just that. I felt like things may not be going well. So what I did though is I'm grateful for a wonderful team, EI Techno, Tasif Ahmed and his crew, all of my editors and marketing and branding individuals who started with me and are now are getting us here. Like, we have finally reached a pivotal area in the business where, we it's going to the next level. And I'm just so excited. I'm so excited that so many things have been going well that I wanted to share with you all, just to have this on recording. You can stay if you want to. If you don't, that's fine. But this is just so that I can share with you some of the challenges, because here, with what we have going right now, it is of such value. I'm learning the system. He just created me a brand new system that I can manage all of my. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the heart, whoever gave the heart. But um, he just created a beautiful CRM system that I can use to do my marketing from, that I can use to have my calendars. It's actually life changing for me, because I can regain some of my time. And I'm learning the system right now, and where we're getting ready to go with it is going to be so valuable for you all who have been supportive and have been in my community, because we're going to be able to offer this system to you as NEMT entrepreneurs. I'm just getting used to it. So I'm here today just out of complete transparency, because I want you all to remember and to recall the challenges that I have had to go through. Because when you see this switch coming, you will know and have something to refer back on. That it's all glory to the Most High, that I had absolutely nothing to do with it. He has been my strength. He has been my fortress. He has been my refuge in during the trials. I'm just so grateful for all of the individuals that he has put in my life to keep me encouraged. And I'm talking about my students too, because it has been an interchange of faith in so many situations because of them, and that I'm still here. They have been a source of inspiration for me also. So I just want to take you all back to when I first started as a non-emergency medical transportation provider. It was back in 2018, and things were so different. I had my ex-husband who was already in the business, and he was making bank. I mean, he was banking. He wasn't, look, and this is kind of putting my info out there, but he wasn't missing no payments. We have 5 children, and he was always on his money. He was affording to put the kids through private schools. And I was just like, what is he doing? But I really wasn't that interested in it, because I was still getting my life together after having felony convictions, just from living my life outside of the kingdom. So I was focused in on securing a job, getting my life back on track. I had my own business as a life care planner, but I needed something more solid for my children. So I finally was able to get in with Fresenius. I mean, they were a second chance employer, and they gave me the opportunity to regain my self-esteem back, and from that standpoint of being able to be a productive citizen and work. And they took me in, and believe me, they have a lot of challenges. Believe me, I've had issues sometimes, but as a company overall and their mission, their integrity is still above par. They Without them, I wouldn't be here. So I give them that as a company. So anyhow, um, as working as a dialysis nurse, you begin to see all of the just challenges, of transportation. And it still didn't click to me, like what was going on. I didn't get it. But you would have people in the waiting room. Hey, can you call my ride? And you go like, there's a phone out there. Call your ride. or you'd be like, okay, I'll call your ride, but y'all gonna have to call your own ride. And it was a that you would have people like when you're ready to leave as a dialysis nurse and you got off on, especially like on a TTS, that's usually your short days. And this is for all of you all. Um, and go ahead and leave me a comment if you're here. Just say hello, what state you're in. So I feel encouraged. But let me tell you, when you work Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then those are your long days, those are your night shifts in dialysis, and then you work on your Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday, you are in anticipation of being able to get off of work when that last patient runs. It's like it is an overwhelming feeling. I know it was for me. I don't know if how my those that I worked with, how they felt, my coworkers felt, but for me, it was like I usually would pull a double. Good morning, Claudia. Happy Sunday. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Look, you looking fantastic on that picture. I'm just going through some of my coaching history. So if you want to hang out, and I'll be in the community. I'll be talking about that some too. Things have just been so hectic, but I'm getting back on track now. I'm thankful and praising God that things are finally back on track. But anyhow, I forgot where I was, y'all. I forgot. Where was I? Oh, Father, help me. Anyway, oh yeah, so transportation. So getting back to transportation and dialysis, going on a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you really want to get out of there on time. So if you work in a clinic that gets you out of there at 3 on a Saturday, but you have to wait until their transportation comes, and they don't get there until 4:30 because they went all the way across town and came back. For me, I'm just being transparent. That would tick me off. I mean, like, I would really be upset. I would be calling and I would be like, listen, you all aren't the only ones that want to go home. I would be so upset because I have at that time 3 children at home waiting for me. And I don't want to be so tired that I can't do anything when I get home. Like, it was hard enough for me to cook and, just being a single mom, it was terrible sometimes. So those are areas that, when I started seeing those cracks, and my ex-husband brought the idea to me in 2018, he said, hey, I'm willing to sell you. I want to sell you my company. And so again, I did all the math, and the math wasn't mathing, and it didn't look right. But I knew how successful the NEMT business had been for him. So I said, well, let me try it out. Let me try it out. And again, this was 2018, 2019. So something that should have taken me just a little while to do because of just even working as a broker, working as a broker dependent, it should have only taken me about a year. It took me almost 3 years to set up because I missed deadlines. I didn't read applications correctly. I was rushing through things because I just wanted to get it open. I didn't understand about my insurance. I didn't understand why I had to carry those insurance rates. I didn't understand how the industry as a whole operated. I just knew that I wanted to start this business. So I stayed at it. I lost drivers because I didn't have them trained right. I hired drivers that couldn't even pass DOT, and I wasted so much money. I I did anything you can think of. I pretty much did it because I did not understand the processes of the industry. So, and I found myself, even like some of you all who call me, and my heart breaks every time you all call me, but I just have to tell you the same thing. You know, those of you all who run out and you get this vehicle, you get this insurance, and then some of you will call me and be like, oh, I couldn't get any customers, so I went and bought another vehicle. And I'm like, why? And I think people get shocked when I ask them that, because I'm like, why did you go out and buy another vehicle if you can't get clients for the one you have? So that's generally individuals' wake up call when I ask them that, hey, you need additional help. And I get it, because I was there and I did the same thing. I thought that if I just threw on another vehicle, that would somehow allow me to get more clients that I already didn't have. So I ended up going out of business. I went out of business. I got up and running, but the driver that I had was not doing a very good job. The manager that I wasn't doing a very good job. And I had lost it all. I literally lost it all. I was bankrupt, and I was no longer working full time. I didn't have that 6-figure travel nurse income coming in. And I was having some trauma associated with how I had left um, a particular clinic, and not Fresenius as a whole, but that particular clinic. And I was traumatized. It was like I was really traumatized with losing my non-emergency medical transportation business. And I mean, even speaking about it now, I still feel it on how hard it was for me. So when I came into coaching, I had started with a Verizon readiness coach that was a free coach. And he said, share your story on social media. That was traumatized. That was traumatized, Willena. I mean, I promise you, I was so traumatized. And all I had was my faith that I would be able to overcome what I had just been through. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. My family was out of order. I was just I was getting married, and, moving. It was so many factors. And then losing the business, quitting my job so that I could basically go into a losing business. It was like, now the self-doubt came, because even though he said go on social media and tell your story, I was like, is anybody going to listen? Why would anybody listen to me? I made all these mistakes. I in my eyes, I failed. And I was, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I said, I didn't have anything else to lose. And I said, Father, if this is what you want, you know, help me, lead me, guide me, help me to do it. And I started making videos. And I started making how-to videos. And I didn't want to show my face, so I used Canva. And I did the introduction videos. You all can go look at some of those older videos. And again, I was so stressed out. It was every day trying to now create a social media following. And I was hurt. I was hurt because I saw other influencers in my niche that were getting all these followers, and they were doing they were getting so big, and I was like, nobody's listening. Yes, it was your success story. Amen. Amen. That you got it, Louise. I'm sharing today because I want everybody to know where I came from, because where we're going, you're about to see the turn. You're going to see the turn here. And I want you to really understand what it is I had to go through. Okay. Just just mentally and within my business. So I'm gonna be here for a while. Y'all can come in, drop out, whatever. That's fine. I just don't have anything to do for a little while. So I'm here to share, and my editors will do what they do to condense it to be a different product if they need it, whatever. But I'm just here. Okay. So anyway, I finally got the courage up. I got on, and then I began to see so many take off, and I was like, "What am I doing wrong? Why am I not being seen?" And that's when I was working with I was working with a different individual for my SEO, but one I had hired like a YouTube coach to help me, and he said, "Okay, well, put out 100 shorts in 30 days." So that required me to do 30 shorts every day for 30 days. And I did it. And you'll see all those reels. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you have so much content." And I'm like, yeah, because I did like 100 shorts in 30 days. And so the algorithm started picking me up and people started seeing me. And I started getting individuals that were reaching out to me because they were like, "Hey, it seems like you're telling like everything on how to do it." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, and I wasn't charging. Now, remember this, I was not charging. And when people would call, when I would have individuals call, the only thing I would ask them for is their testimony. I would say, "I'm going to tell you everything, exactly how to do it. Just if you could just leave me a testimonial." You know how Yeshua said, "Hey, in most cases, everybody, there was only one or two cases where people came out and actually gave him the glory and the honor for what he did." And we see those, but we know he did so much more than the ones that are reflected in the scriptures. Anyway, so getting back, so I had so many individuals that I spoke to, and I gave them all of the tea on how to get started. Okay. And they in turn gave me their testimonials, and they just kept growing and growing. And I began to get more confident. I had been doing my business planning template that I had created, and I had put it on my initial like little Wix website that was free. And well, at first I put it on Etsy, but Etsy, that did not work out for me. That did not work out for me. And I'll talk about that one a day if we ever get into digital products and digital product sales. I don't recommend Etsy for digital product sales. I recommend that you get your own site for that. But I did that. That's what I did. That's a lesson that I learned because let me just well, I'll go into it real quick, y'all. So what I did is I created an Etsy shop, and on that Etsy shop, they my product, because it was specific to non-emergency medical transportation, and it wasn't just like anybody else's business plan. I was selling mine for $24.99, something like that. I don't think I've changed the price on it ever. I do need to go and revise it just so because it makes me feel better about doing it. But I started advertising that business plan in my videos, and you all came and you bought it, and you all were using it, and I was like, "Wow, thank you, praise God." So what I would do was I would get that $24.99, and I would invest in like a little lapel pin from Amazon just for my sound. And then I would get me a little ring light for another $25. And at the time I was in a little room that was like it was like a very, very small room, and all I had was a little desk. It was cramped. Anyway, so I would do all my recording from there. And um, I did this Etsy. I did the Etsy store, and I was doing very well on sales. But someone who didn't like the fact that my business plan was $24.99. No, it wasn't even the business plan. It was my little brochure It wasn't the business plan, but they complained about my brochure that I had on there for sale for like $6.99 on how to start your NEMT, and it was literally just on how to do a LLC. It was how to start an LLC and how to do that. It was like the steps of, and it was like $3.99, $5.99. And she was like, I could have got all this information the from the internet. And I was like, okay, facts. I was like, but you didn't. You purchased it through my product. And she asked for a refund, which I did. I gave her a refund. And she still on that Etsy shop left me a bad review. I closed that thing down so fast because I was like, I had had so many sales on it and no one had complained. She was the first one. But then Etsy started holding my money. They began holding my money. So anytime someone made a purchase, they would only release like 20% of it, and they held the next 30 to 40% until someone else paid. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't have anybody controlling my money like that. Even if somebody has a complaint, over a $5.99 ebook, that's okay. I get it, but I can't have somebody hold my money. So I got on and I got a free Wix website, and Wix, I didn't have those issues with Wix. So that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, is to watch your platforms and to read your terms and agreements on those platforms, because any platform that you use, they have terms and agreements, and they can hold your money. So anyway, I started getting that done, and then that's when the SEO was getting better with the video, and I had two videos that really hit. They did great. And they're the 5 mistakes that new NEMT owners make, and then the 3 I can't remember. That you can look on those videos, but they did great. And that was when Tasif reached out to me, and he was like, hey, I can help you to grow. And I was like, okay. And I had many individuals at that time that were coming to me asking me to grow it. But the good thing about Tasif is, like, he had a whole presentation, and he had actually looked at my business, and he saw what I was doing. And he was able to say, you can use these tactics or these strategies. You can use these strategies, and by using these strategies, it will grow your business. So I was just so excited, because I had just launched my $399 program, and I had people purchasing it. And I was growing, and I was like, man, I do not want to spend this money. But then we started watching, of course, I love Shark Tank. Started watching Shark Tank, and then I watched the McDonald's story, and I was like, it's going to take money to make money. And I was like, let me go ahead and invest in myself. So I did. I invested not only in my marketing, but at that time he was handling my Instagram and my Facebook marketing. And then I also started investing in coaching for myself, because I was like, if I can help others to avoid the mistakes that I made, I want to be the best at it that I possibly can. I know that there's always going to be people that are in my niche that may offer different things, and they're great at it. But the things that I do, I want to be really good at them. So I started researching and investing time in myself, because I was struggling, y'all. I had all these people calling me, because I used my personal phone number. I had all these people calling me for appointments, and I didn't have really a way to schedule them, and it was all over the place. So then I learned about Google Calendar, and I started using the Google Calendar. Then I started using my Wix booking site, and that was hard because I was giving away like hour-long appointments, like hour-long free appointments, and I did that for months, like almost a year. I was doing that, and I was doing it for the testimonials because I needed people to be able to say that they had used my program and that it worked. So the first evidence that I had that my programs actually worked was I had a gentleman, and y'all, I felt some type of way. I felt some type of way, but he had called me when I had first started, and I gave him basically the whole entire blueprint of how to start an NEMT. And he went out and he did everything I had told him to do. And he was up and running. And so he was like, hey, I just have a couple more questions that I want to ask you. And if you can get this right and we can do this, then I'll talk about purchasing a package. And I was like, what? I was like, what? I was like, you're sitting here telling me that you got your business up and going based on the information that I told you. You already are up and running. And now you want me to help you take you to the next level, and you're not willing to invest $399. So I felt a little type of way, and I told him, I was like, hey, I have paying clients now, and if you want that information, and I handled it pretty well, but like I said, at first I felt some type of way, but then it was like Holy Spirit said, that's confirmation that the information that you're giving is right, because he got everything up and going, all the information I had given him. So I stopped feeling as upset as I had been, and I said, okay, well, let me continue to work on my programs. So I continued to work on my program, and in the meantime, I still was struggling with time management. I was struggling with working at that time. I ended up having to get work. I went back to work, and I was working a night job, plus still doing this business during the day, and trying to work on the business, and in the business, managing my time, my calendars. And I was doing hour-long calls, and then I had clients now, and I was still doing hour-long calls with them. And my sales techniques were terrible. I could not close deals. I mean, people were calling me. I was telling them everything still, and and I was helping them, but I wasn't helping them, because in essence, the information I was giving them was getting them to a certain point where they were getting approved. But then after that, they were calling me and wanting me to give them more information on how to get clients and how to expand, but they didn't want to purchase a package. So then it became, are these businesses still going to be successful? And that's when I realized, I was like, okay, instead of just teaching people how to start their business, I need to give them more value so that they can sustain their business. And so then that's when I was like, well, what can I do? And that's when it hit me that, and it actually hit me today, but it began to hit me. Thank you for the light. It began to hit me that the businesses that have stayed in business that I work with, because again, not everybody succeeds in this business. It is just the way that it is. I've finally figured out after 2 years how to offer a 100% money back guarantee, but it took me 2 years to figure out how to do that. And I'm just now getting ready to roll that out. But it was very challenging, needless to say. Managing appointments, booking, editing, and there's no way that I could have ever started my own transportation business and did this at the same time. So anyway, um, I remember one of the things that I had to deal with was rejection. Also, with being a coach, um, again, being poor in sales was a detriment to me because I did not know how to close, and I did not know how to get individuals to understand that outside of getting a vehicle and insurance, there's so much more, and that you spend so much time and so much energy and so much money over time by not investing in coaching. But it was so hard to get people to understand that I was getting frustrated. But then again, through my own getting my own coaches and them showing me different ways, working with Tasif and my the ad agency, and we all working together as a team, we began to get a package that worked. So when I started seeing my clients calling me that I coached and saying, hey, we just broke 10K in revenue, or hey, we're doing 5 trips a day, or hey, we just signed a contract. And I was like, and it took a year. It took a year. It took a year and a half for me to start getting clients to return back and say, hey, I'm getting ready to sign my VA contract. Or I just got a 400K SBA loan. And, no, they're not all like that. Some of my clients are still, they started with me set up backwards. They had the insurance and they had the vehicle, and we're still trying to dig them out of that hole. So it's not like that all the time. But when you start to see everybody circle back around, you begin to realize that your techniques are working. So recently, I'm going to fast forward because I've been on here for a while. But recently, it's been very hard on me again, because now I have over 40 students and they all cycle. Like I may have 5 or 6 students that are in their first 90 days, actually 5 to 10 students that are in their first 90 days. And then I have other students that are now are waiting on approvals with their states. So they're cooking over there. And then I have some students who are completed and they're still getting their clientele up. So I have students in like all different phases of the development. So that's why you don't see a lot of like brand new testimonials, but they're all cooking. Okay. And so I have 40 students, and in that 40 students, I have discovery calls. And a lot of times, and I'm here to be transparent, a lot of times my discovery calls have gotten frustrated. I've been getting frustrated with my discovery calls because there is a lot of information out there now about the industry. And a lot of times people use the discovery call to ask me questions. And I don't mind answering questions, but that's not really what that meeting is for. That meeting is basically where you've seen, amen, amen. That 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 time is so that I can get to know you and get to see your vision, get to know what it is that you want to do, and help you to choose a program that will get you there. So a lot of times I feel like I'm having to sell myself, and I've gotten to the point, because I know that Yah uses me. It's not my strength. Again, I say it's not me, that He uses me as a vessel, that I don't want to sell myself. So when I start feeling like I'm having to sell myself to you, I have to cut the call off. So I've really gotten very selective on the individuals that I work with, because I want individuals who understand that I'm a program, that I'm not just a, hey, tell me how to do it. That's not what I do. I'm a program. I work with you in all areas of your business for your success. And that is what has been challenging for me lately, is these discovery calls, taking them on. And people, like, because they're free, they don't show up. And I get it, because I get it. When people don't have to invest in themselves, they think, okay, we can just reschedule. But like, sometimes it's hard for me, because I work every other weekend still. And the facility I work at is a huge facility. And I'm grateful that I have that position. I can supervise, but I'm on my feet all day, every day, pretty much. There may be an hour in my day that I'm not on my feet. And that job requires me to think, critically in a different way. And when by the time Monday comes along and I have to get up and to get prepared for a 9 a.m. appointment, and I have people booked out from 9 until 9:30 to 10 o'clock, and my then I start my regular clients, and then they don't show up, or they show up and want a question and answer period. I have to say, hey, that is what the free community is for. Go back and look at the resources that you were sent in your emails prior to this. And it's a little anxiety for me, because I have to redirect them, because I just don't have the time anymore. I don't. I mean, I really have clients that are dedicated, that are taking classes with me and doing the work, and content creating, and they're applying for all kinds of things, and I'm starting working on the grants and the grant writing. So I just want to tell you all that this has been a wonderful, wonderful journey. It's been a wonderful, wonderful journey, but we're going to the next level. We're going to the next level. Yah has brought us to the next level. So my availability is not going to be so much as it has been on the YouTube platform, to giving you guys the videos and content like that. It'll be more me showing up on a live, and saying, hey, how are you? And I will be putting out some videos, don't get me wrong, but most of my most of my teaching is being done now in the community. And right now the community is free. And I am teaching. Claudia, I don't know if she's still here, but she's attended a couple of my group coaching sessions. And we are getting ready to start over. I've got the workbook ready, so those who are attending will get their copy of the workbook. I'm going to be giving that away for free, but it's not going to be free too much longer, because again, I'm getting frustrated, because I have individuals who will pay for the program and they show up. But when I give it to individuals for free, they don't. And I know my schedule, y'all. I apologize for my schedule this past week, but in most cases, I do show up. But we've been putting all this stuff together, so I do ask for grace on that. But what has been frustrating is that I have the free community where I'm offering free information and I'm still only getting one or two showing up. So what we're doing is, I'm gonna give it through July. I've got a lot of individuals that are in my community that are, just kind of taking advantage of the free courses that are in there, but not really engaging. They're not really engaging in the community. And that's not what that is for. This is a give and take. It is a reciprocal relationship, not a symbiotic or I don't that's not what this is. So we're getting ready to, in July, we're going to go to a paid platform where it is going to be paid. Now, anybody that has been actively engaging, they have the opportunity. We're going to keep you on. We're going to keep you on, and you'll get an invite over to the VIP section. But those that have not been engaging, then I'm just going to offer my time once a week. That way, I can have my time back, because again, I have 40 students that I am walking through this process, and it's time consuming. I love each and every last one of them, and I think they love me back and we have great rapport. But I have to make sure that things stay on level. So there's been some changes in the background. Again, we've just moved over to an entire new system that I am learning so that I can centralize everything. And once I get it learned, I'm going to be able to offer it to you all, those of you all who are actually building your businesses, so that you don't have to even go through the challenges and the struggles that I've had to go through just running this coaching business. Because I've had challenges. It's not been easy. Um, I've had to experience nightmare situations, and there's been challenges on the back end, and I want to share those with you all. So anyway, that I think that's really all I have left to say. My husband's called in a couple of times, and I'm sure he's wanting to know what these groceries I need him to get are. So I look forward to talking to you all later. I will be back on this evening at 5 my time for Central to interview Alicia Harris with We Simply Care. This is her 2nd-year anniversary. And we're going to talk about the challenges that she's faced and all the good positive things that are going on in her business. And then in July, we're going to roll back around with Toby and Andy of TAN NEMT Services. They're also in their 2nd year. They're going to be sharing their experiences. And I have several others that I'm begging to come on and to share their stories. But of course, the fear of social media has slowed them down. And I understand that. And some of them have their own reasons of why they don't want to get on camera. And I get that, I do. But I really am hoping that they will come on out of their shells and share their experiences. And that's another reason why I'm doing this today, to come on and share my experiences, because everything that I teach my students, I feel like I need to do that also. If I don't show up, then I can't expect them to show up. If I'm not on social media, even when I don't feel like it, then they're not going to do it. So in order for me to get the point across that, hey, your brand, establishing your brand, speaking to your clients, speaking to your community is so important. If I'm not doing it, they're not either. So that's why I show up. That's why but I'm still asking you all, come over to that community, engage in that community, because it's not going to be free for too much longer for all of the things that I'm doing in it for free right now. I'm still going to show up. We're still going to have some Q&As. We're still going to have some of the events that we're having. But right now, I'm spending 5 days a week in there, or scheduled to spend 5 days a week in there, outside of what. And so I got to free up some of my time for my family, and so that I can actually work on my business. I got to get my business credit up. I need a car. I've been without a car for almost 2 years. And everything that I have invested, have received into this business, I've put right back into this business. So this year, my goal is to get a business card, because we're paying so much in rentals. I mean, every time I go to an event, that's a rental. So the goal is to be able to get my business credit in line, so that I can purchase a business vehicle, so that I can move and be able to get out and about more. So freeing up my time with this new CRM system is going to be beautiful for me. So I think I've rambled on enough. All right, y'all. We're going to talk later. You all be blessed. If you have any questions, go over to the community. Hit the link tree links. They've got all of my links. I'll leave it also in this live in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Go over to my website, www.nemtstartup.net. I have new digital products that have been released, and keep an eye out. I've got some new products coming soon, and one of them is going to be on getting prepared for grant writing. I'm going to do a whole different live sometime this week on grant writing in particular. So we'll talk about that later. You all be blessed.